In 1998, I had been teaching at School of Visual Arts, graduate class at the School of Visual Arts in New York, and was introduced to this wondrous new program, Photoshop. And as I learned more and more about that, and as it evolved and became more and more powerful, by 1998 I had my continued interest in integrating images together. And in this case, this image was the result of combining two separate photographs together, digitized photographs, and then doing a lot of hand cloning and manipulation of the image, bringing it together so it looked as though it were just a straight photograph. But if one looks closely, you see that there are some fish that are actually two kinds of fish brought together. But it really signaled a new interest in this way of recombining images together. This extended to another image, which I think I did in 2000, to actually going back to some earlier work that I'd shot in the 1960s in a kind of a modified color film. And I went back to that work that I had never really utilized before. I hadn't printed this before in any way, shape, or form. This is actually a recombination of several frames brought together. And it was a color image that was okay, but there was too much going on, too much color. And so I decided to work out a process where I would mask everything and then paint away the mask by hand, allowing just certain elements of the color to show through. So this was the result. It was in this, I believe, the 2000 SIGGRAPH art exhibition, and really signaled an important area that I would pursue, and continue to work with integrating images together, and that became increasingly important. Again, this was not using anything particularly well, sophisticated in terms of Photoshop, but mainly just layering, bringing together, and then utilizing masking. I continue to be interested in integrating images together. This was a series I shot actually in New Orleans, but started to utilize some software that would enable one. Actually, the software was intended to create panoramas, but I wasn't all that interested in the actual use of it. I wanted to utilize that to integrate images together. Once again, trying to move from the real into the more dynamic drama that one could create from a photograph. This uses that same kind of, well, essentially stitching software, along with hand manipulation, that continued my interest in that elongated format, but recombining, and by that process making the whole a very new kind of image from a series of existing images together. Here is again that the interest in the matrix. I have utilized that in a number of ways. These two images are actually large-scale images printed to utilizing pigment inks and kind of capturing the feel of movement along with that segmentation that the matrix permitted. This is a completely different kind of approach where I put together images but utilizing a kind of a stitching but in a very different way and really is part of a series that continues to this day being 2011, which is the Anomaly series. And in this case, I'm totally uninterested in the original event, the original source image, but rather trying to create a completely new reality that really certainly was not there. This was, starts as very small little wavelets of sand, but extends quite beyond that. This was, again, a matrix of the Sky Map series. And I apologize for being a little out of sequence, but the notion of time and space is important. Now let me return back to the anomalies. This is called wave anomaly. And again, at first glance, it might seem real, and yet when you look at it a little bit further, say, oh, wait a minute, that really can't happen, that there's something wrong here. And I'm very, very interested in that tension between what is real and what is not real. And to me, that's a very exciting aspect and an inventive process that the computer allows. These are, there's a whole series of scapes, which are a form of garlic that my daughter-in-law grew, and we had them in our summer place in a jar, and I looked at them and I was absolutely engrossed by their shapes and photographed them directly, but later on when I got back to the studio and started looking at them, I wondered if there was a way of even going beyond their initial beauty, and so these are an extension of the Anomaly series, the Scapes anomalies, which I've been very pleased with. They've certainly answered all of my need to extend the image and have a formal quality and a kind of sense of drama all wrapped together.